Hi, welcome to my new video. In this video I'm talking about some basic Linux commands. Do you need to know them? Absolutely. If you're working with a beginner-friendly distro like OS or Linux Mint for example, you do not necessarily need to know them. I would just really recommend you to try and learn at your own pace. It just doesn't hurt to learn new things. Especially in the future, if you want to switch to different distro for example, it's just some basic commands, universal to Linux itself, and yeah, let's go. Hi, here I am on my desktop, and I'm using currently, for the showcase, NeoFetch. OS, I mean. Which is, a Linux distro specifically made for a Windows user. That's unimportant right now. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to show you some basic Linux commands. I mean, the fact that I'm doing this inside the virtual machine doesn't matter, because they are universal to all Linux distros. But yeah, anyway. First things first. There's something about directives which is really important for you to know. When you go down to plus other places in OS and then to machine, here you come to this folder: bin, boot, cd, rom, dev, etc, home, mount, media, blah blah blah. This here is the root directive. You can also see open in terminal. So let me make it a big tinier, so when you press pvd, here you have only a slash, which means you are in the root directive. You cannot go any higher. And this is already the first Linux terminal command I'm going to show to you, and that is ls. Now you can find that bin, dev, lib, x32 are the exact same as the folders in here, because this is exactly what this command does. It shows you all the different folders, programs, etc. inside the folder you're currently in. So you're doing the exact same thing, just inside the terminal here. Now let's go to a really important part, and that is the home folder. Let's enter cd home. And now press pvd again. Now you can see, earlier I've pressed pvd and there was just a slash. Pvd tells me where on my system am I, in which folder am I currently. I did the same command here, but now I'm suddenly inside the home folder. Why? Because I cd home. Cd means enter a folder. It's the terminal equivalent of double-clicking a folder to open it. And thereby, when I change the folder in which I am, then pvd, which gives me a different result. And you type in ls again, you have Steve here and there. And again, it's your username. This here is your personal folder. What does that mean? I'm just going to jump back here, machine. On here are system configurations, etc. The only thing you are really interacting with, especially if you are a Linux beginner, is inside the home directive, inside your username, this place here. DVD. So your home, which is the folder in which you are storing your pictures, your videos, your video games. This is basically for you as a person to interact with. Or the other things, other folders, are, for the sake of oversimplification here, just for the system itself. So it can handle its own configurations, etc. outside of your path of interacting. And here you can see personal folder builder, for example, which is all of them are in the home folder. Documents, downloads, the exact same how it would be on Windows. But before I continue, I go to Sound Appearance, Effects, and I'm gonna disable Gelee mode, because now it does not wobble around like complete crazy. So now let me just create a folder, just name it test folder, double click it and say folder A, folder B, and let's go back. Open terminal here, just in order to repeat the process here. ls shows me all the different folders which are in existence here. And here you can see I have the test folder. So how do I enter it? cd test folder. I press ls again. Didn't work. And now I have my two folders I've just created manually. Now I want to create a third folder inside this directive here, but not via the GUI, the graphical user interface, but via the terminal. How would I do this? I just say mkdir and name it C, for example. C is the folder name, okay? You can name it however you want. mkdir means make directive, create folder. Now let's press ls again. Now I have 3 folders. Now what I'm going to do, let's just press pvd. Exactly where I am. ls. I'm gonna enter the cd folder, the B folder for example. And now, just for the sake of it, I'm going to create a text file. An empty text file, it doesn't really matter. How do you do this? I'm just going touch, and I'm going to name it hi.txt. txt means it is a text file. Okay. Now, if I now go here into the test folder, B folder, here I have my empty text folder. So now I am in the test B folder. Now I just want to exit the B folder via the terminal. So just hop back basically. How do I do this? cd point. And now I've successfully jumped back. Now I've shown you how to create a folder inside the terminal. Now the A folder, for example, I want to delete it. How do I do this? Simple, rm dir A. Yeah, there's mkdir for creating a folder, rmdir for deleting a folder. So these parts are especially important if you want to create some mount points, etc. I mean, I'm keeping things really basic here. There are lots more commands, obviously, but just for you to get a rough understanding of it. Why am I showing you this? Because you can just very easily just go into here, create new folder, go here, new document, for example. What kind of document do you want to create? So you do not need to use the terminal. Why do you want to do this? Well, for example, how about I'm currently in here and I want to create a mount point folder in which to install a mount point folder to mount in external SSDs, HDDs, etc. Now you might think, okay, it's the root directive, good and fine. Create new folder. Okay, it is not possible, it is grayed out. Why is that the case? Because your system tries to protect you from yourself. Your system thinks, are you really sure you are wanting to be here and configure stuff? Because the home folder, which is, is made for you specifically. What do you want to do here? Now, so in order to, let's just say I want to create a folder with the name drives, in which I then mount in my SSDs, HDDs, etc. Now, as you can see, it is impossible to do this via the GUI interface. Okay, let me just open the terminal here. And let's press ls. So we have come to know mkdir creates a folder. Okay, drives is the name of the folder I want to create inside the root directive. So you can see there's only a slash mkdir drives. Now, okay, how about I just press enter? There should not be any problems now. I can interact with the terminal without any issues. Now, mkdir. The folder drives could not be created. Now it's written in German, but what it's saying, I have no permissions. I have no administrator privileges. What does that mean? No privileges, no administrator privileges, or I'm just not allowed to. Because I'm interacting with the terminal as a regular user. And as a regular user, I only have access to the user directive, which is a pretty personal folder here for pictures, documents, etc. But I'm absolutely sure I want to interact with that. I want to create this drives folder directly in the root directive. I know what I'm doing. For this, you need to add sudo. Sudo means superuser. And what it does, it gives you temporary administrative privileges, rights. You can think about sudo as the Linux equivalent of right-clicking an executable, for example, and choose Run Program as Administrator. This is what this program is doing here. This command sudo is doing here. Now it asks me for my password. Enter, and now the folder has been created. Let's go back. So when you're interacting with the root directive, etc., they are working with the terminal is really a must-have. And now it is not an everyday occurrence. You need to interact with anything outside of your home directive. But yeah, so let's enter the drives folder, for example, in which, for example, we want to create, a mount point for an HDD. Simple sudo mkdir and whatever name you choose. So I really want to get this into that you know what ls does, but also what rmdir or mkdir, what these programmed command lines are doing. But just for you get an understanding of when to use sudo, etc. Because sudo gives you temporary elevated privileges. What I meant with that is, be careful what kind of Linux commands you're executing with sudo. Yeah. Let's move on. Now, all in all, it is really rare that you really need to interact with the terminal to such a degree. I just want to give you some basic commands to know. There's no folder test. So now I have two folders here. And in the B folder, I have a text file. Now, what I want to do, I want to copy the content of the B folder inside the C folder. How do I do this? So I'm just going to say copy -r from where I want to copy whatever, and that is b hi.txt to C. Now let's just cd into the C folder. And here we have the text file also in C. Now, do not worry, you don't really need to know these commands. I just want you to have seen it at least once. This is a rough oversimplifications, only the most basic commands. Do not stress yourself. It's just that you have seen it at least once. Now, okay, how about I press in thousands of commands. Just imagine the entire terminal is completely full. I, for example, have installed a program, for example, let's just say the VLC player. Sudo apt install VLC. It is a Debian-based Linux distro, SorenOS for example. That's why I'm using the apt installer. That's not the topic of this video, just to know it. And just type in VLC -- version, for example. And then press enter. Now, what if the text is a bit longer and with the text on top of it, it's really confusing to look at, and yeah, it gets really confusing. What you can do on the terminal is press clear. With clear, you empty the entire terminal. Now, with the arrow keys up and down, you can switch to previous commands you have put into the terminal. You do not need to re-input them every time. So, -- version. Oh, yeah, that's the 3.0.16 version. Okay, good and fine, so unimportant right now. So, before I continue, just let us redo our previous steps. First of all, mkdir means to create a folder. Oh yeah, also good to know. Putting the hashtag in front of it means that the terminal does not read this input of mine. So everything right to it gets ignored. So basically with that you can transform your terminal into a note-taking text document if you want. Which is also, now for example, if you're programming, hashtags are often used to kill a certain line. Kill, what does that mean? To make a certain line of inside the editor unreadable for the compiler, so you can take notes in that. But yeah. Then rmdir, remove directive, to delete a folder. rmdir to delete. Then I've pressed pvd, which shows me where I am currently, in which folder I am. Then to type in ls. ls shows me the content of the folder I'm currently in. So I'm in home, my username, and in that folder, these folders are in here. Then I've talked about touch. Touch test.txt, for example, a text file with the name test. Let's do it again. Here I have in white the test text file. Now, what I want is to delete the text file. How do I do this? It's really simple. I'll just type in rm. Not to be confused with rmdir. This here, rm, is different from rmdir, because rmdir says remove directive, remove folder. This is not a folder. Okay? just for you to get an awareness over that. Then let's type in ls again. It is gone. Okay, then let's create a new text file and name it conf.txt. Okay, let's clear it again. Clear, remove all content of the terminal to make it clearly visible to you. Okay, why have I created the text file, the conf text file? Because now I'm going to type in nano conf.txt. Okay, what just happened here? Nano says write into. Basically, I open this text file in order to write into it. I'm just gonna show you. I say hi. Yeah. And then some exclamation mark. This is a test. Uvu. Yeah, Mr. Cringelot is on the loose again. Now, okay, I've written into this text file here. Now, before I leave it, I need to save it, because then everything will be deleted. And to do this by pressing Ctrl or Steuerung, depending of your keyboard, Ctrl and Ctrl O. Ctrl O. Then do you want to save it? Yes. Press just Enter. And then Ctrl X. Okay. How about we just check the GUI now? Use the conf.txt file, double click it. And here you can see the thing I've written into that one. So with Nano, you edit it. Now, if Nano is not available on your system, then you need to install it. Okay, so for example, on Arch-based Linux distros, for example, you need to type in sudo pacman -s nano. On Debian system, you know, it's sudo apt install nano. So it really depends on if it comes pre-installed on your system. If not, you need to install it from the repositories. But yeah, it's also a really important configuration tool just to know. Let's go back to the test folder. And I'm just going to delete the entire content here. So now both are empty. And yeah, I'm being lazy now. I'm just gonna create a hi.txt file. And now what I wanna do is I wanna move the text file from folder B to C, so that in the end it is only in the C folder. So the hi.txt file, move it into the C folder by the terminal. So now what you're going to do, you press move, then press B/, now put in the point, and then C. C ls. Now it is also in the text file, but if I go and leave it and go into the B folder, nothing is here because we didn't copy, we moved it. So now what's so special about this command here? Might look a bit confusing, but it's actually the exact same as before when I copied it. Because MV means to move a folder, CP for copy. Now this is the B folder, but why the slash and why the asterisk? Because with the asterisk I say everything inside this folder. Because if I just type in MV B and then a C, I would move the folder B itself into C. We only want to move the content of B, not the folder itself, into C. And this is what I did with the slash and then the asterisk. So earlier I've talked about, how to edit a text file. But now I want to read what's written in the text file, but I do not want to edit it. So just to look at what is written there. And I do this with cat hi.txt, and the content will be shown to me. Now also an important tool would be htop. Okay, now we have the first case, htop was not found. We need to install it first. And it gives me even a recommendation what to use. I'm just going to do that. Password, because I'm working with sudo, as you can see. Enter. Let's clear it. htop. These are my CPU cores, this is my memory, this here is my swap. It's not important to know what any of these are, it's just a system monitoring tool. Always great to have. With Control C, you exit a command. What I meant is, htop, for example, is now constantly running. And I just end it by pressing Control Z. Voila, that's it. Now, am I connected to the internet? Is my internet working? I mean, obviously you could go down to networking section and check it out, open a browser to test it, obviously. But how about inside the terminal? I mean, you could try to install a package, and if it doesn't work, then you have no internet, obviously. But there's another way. You type in ping, and let's just say google.com. Wait a second. Google not working. But as you can see, I do possess internet. Whichever website this, whichever server this is, but yeah, let's ignore that. Now, in terms of Linux, I could also talk about Gmod. I could also talk about the chown command, but these are more intermediate commands. And again, especially on the Linux distro like Source, for example, you do not need to know any of them. The exception being, if you want to create a mount point for external drives. In the description you can find a video about it. But this was just that you have seen it at least once. You do not need to stress over that, because the likelihood that you will work outside of your home directive anywhere and you need to work with terminal sudo is really low, but just so that you have seen it at least once. Yeah. Thanks for watching this video. I hope this video was kinda helpful. Keep working, because there's still much to do, and go read Berserk.